All right, guys, hope you're doing well. So we've decided to come on a podcast. I know you haven't seen us for a while. We're going to talk about the new direction that we're going in. Obviously, Luke did a little video on our new brand, which is LifeLabs. So in this little podcast, we're just going to talk about our plans for the future. We're going to talk about the new app that we've developed. We're going to talk about potential labs in the future, supplements, and give you a bit of a better idea of what our plans are. As we move forwards, we are going to try and improve on our setup. So it's going to be more like a show type of setup, with maybe some more regular Q&As, and improvements in sort of video and audio quality. So that's that. Anything to add, Luke? Well, before we go into the app.
Nope. Hope you're all doing well. It's a nice sunny day here in California. Hopefully spring is around the corner here. And yeah, we're gonna try to be doing this podcast like once a week, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think as we move along, we're gonna get a bit of an idea of what people are wanting from the channel. I know a lot of people have been missing us. I know a lot of people message me all the time saying when's new videos coming out and stuff like that. But the reason why we haven't been doing any videos is because we've been working, hard in the background, building systems. And yeah, I mean, I'm getting married. I've had a kid. I don't know, probably a lot of people don't realize that. So that's all been new for me. So it's actually 5 months old now. That's how much I haven't been on YouTube. I don't think I've actually told anyone on YouTube that I've got a kid. So that's all new.
The son, what's his name again?
Eden.
Eden.
Yeah. So yeah,
Little.
he's nearly 5 months old. So it's coming along quick.
Is he crawling?
5 months. No, I think it takes a little bit longer than that.
They crawl around a little bit.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to show you the app that we've developed, talk you through it. You might not have, you've probably seen it, especially if you've been, one of my clients, because we generate reports through it. But I'm going to talk you through it. Luke, if you want to jump in at any point and ask any questions or whatever, then that'd be good.
Right. So this is kind of what I talked about in the video that I made, like the direction that we're going. So how long have you been working on this app? Like 3 years now?
Yeah, it was weird. Like the idea came when we was working when we was a helper with Dr. Wilson. If you can remember, he always wanted us to send him patterns. So that actually used to take quite a while to do. And I figured out, well, why don't I just generate an app for it? So I ended up building that app 3 years ago. And then after a while, realized that it can actually be really useful for practitioners. And then the more I sort of built the app, the more I actually realized that it would be extremely useful for something like this to be a bit more commercial, because Dr. Wilson's website and Dr. Wilson's work. I mean, me and Luke don't work with Dr. Wilson anymore, but we highly respect his work, and he's just basically built on top of Dr. X's work. But to actually collate Dr. Wilson's website and work and Dr. X's work into a system, I think it's really important, because there's so much information. When you think about it, you've got all of the patterns, and then you've got all of the symptoms, and then you've got to link the symptoms with the patterns. And then you've got things like, how well someone's doing the program, what healing reactions they're going through. And as a practitioner, there's only certain hours you've got in the daytime. So to actually put all of that information into an application, I think is, super useful. I mean, at the end of the day, Dr. X did that back in the 80s. So he's
yeah. So what it kind of is if you guys have ever gotten the automated reports from ARL themselves, they actually still mail them out. Have you got those mailed to you, Lewis? You're all the way in the UK. Have you ever seen those reports from ARL?
used to get them mailed to us, but it seems to me as if hair analysis has been stuck in the 80s.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you took the computer program that Dr. Eck originally created, but they haven't changed it in 40 years. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's basically, it's like if you took everything that we've learned in the meantime, you know, added it to, and you've made a new app.
Yeah, for sure. And all of the new patterns are not on the ARL reports.
Right.
And then, you know, when we was working as helpers, you know, we used to have advanced practitioners, and they only had a certain amount of time in the day, so the reports that we got from them was, you know, okay. So I think what me and Luke are trying to do is bring hair analysis into the 21st century. And what we're going to show you today is the app, which is kind of focused at the moment a little bit on practitioners. We could talk about that, but you can actually run your own reports through it. Like Luke mentioned in the previous video, we always want people to use a practitioner, especially if you've never done hair analysis before. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, for me personally, 99% of the time over the past 11 years, I've actually learned everything myself by reading Dr. Wilson's website. You know, practitioners have only got a certain amount of hours in the day. They are super useful. But I think for those people that have got a fairly good grip on hair analysis and they just want to run reports, something like this is needed. You know, as a bit of a do it yourself sort of system. So I personally don't want the app to ever get to a point whereby the general public can't actually run reports through it. But we sort of like building on top of it. It's going to be an organic process. The first thing that we've basically done is separated the practitioner app from, you know, LifeLabs, which is separate. So at some point in the future, individuals are going to be running, you know, we'll be able to run the tests through on LifeLabs.ai to separate the two. But at the moment, they can actually run reports through hairanalysis.report. But like I said, I do want to stress that you should always work with a practitioner, especially in the beginning. And for any practitioners watching, this is, you know, a system at the moment that's sort of tailored for practitioners, you know, to be able to generate reports, you know, booking systems, all sorts of stuff. It's pretty in depth. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through the app, so you can watch this video as someone who's doing the program or as a practitioner, and hopefully you'll be able to see the value in it. I don't know if you got anything to add, Luke, before I get into it.
No, it's just it's pretty exciting. I think this is like the future, like I talked about in that video. This is the future of where health is sort of going. Like you see, there's more and more like health apps sort of popping up, right? Like people have those. Like my buddy has one of those, what do they call it, like the fit watches that like tracks your sleep and your heart rate and stuff. And we're seeing this sort of like this move towards, you know, apps and sort of gamification even of like health is you know, the medical system, you know, in a lot of countries is falling apart to a certain extent. People are trying to take their health into their own hands, you know, in the modern world, and they're going down that route. And it's, you know, and me and Lewis having this background of hair mineral analysis, which in our view is kind of like the future of where medicine's going, right? It's like trying to prevent. It's like letting people take their health into their own hands, trying to prevent disease, not trying to treat the symptoms of, you know, the way of, you know, the modern medical system is going, right?
Yeah.
You know, giving people more energy and helping them detox, you know, every facet of,
Yeah.
You know,
And that's
like
something that you know, we could add on in the future. You know, the idea of gamification, which,
right.
you know, if you get a celebration pattern, you might get a little badge, you know, things like that keeps people, you know, wanting the program, excited in the program. You know, in the future, I mean, a lot of people do get confused by the word app. They think, you know, it's a mobile application. At the moment, it's mainly a web application. You know, because
in the future, maybe it will be a mobile app, you know.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely make it into a mobile app in the future. But at the moment, we've realised in terms of a business perspective, it is the best idea to focus early doors on practitioners and get the system working for practitioners. And then in the future, it'll probably move on to something whereby clients can download an app and they'll be able to see all of their reports. They'll be able to see, you know, all of their updates, be able to troubleshoot symptoms through the application, learn about hair analysis, you know, join courses, you know, be part of forums, all that sort of stuff. But from a business perspective, it's definitely been the wisest move for us to work with practitioners in the beginning, to help practitioners out with generating reports and whatnot. So I think as I speak to you about as I show you how the system works, you'll have a much better understanding of how you could potentially utilize it and what you're going to be seeing from me and Luke if you work with us, the sort of reports that you're going to start to be able to generate.
Yeah, we're very excited to take you guys on this journey with us. This is something like we obviously think this is the future of health, you know, where it's you know, the future of health is kind of looking at the biochemistry of the body and then balancing the biochemistry. And we know that hormonal analysis and the science that's been developed is the best way that we know of to sort of, you know, look at the biochemistry of the body and move in a healthier direction. And so we can put together all this knowledge that's been accumulated about hair mineral analysis and biochemistry and put it into an app. That's a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah.
I would argue this is the most powerful thing that's for your health that's ever been built.
Yeah, potentially. And now, you know, we're integrating artificial intelligence into the app. You can start, you know, seeing trends over time and you know, all sorts of stuff. We're on about building little chatbots and whatnot. The idea is not to replace a practitioner, but the idea is there are thousands of variables, if not tens of thousands of variables to consider when looking at hair analysis. And if you have a system that can analyze that in real time, you've got something powerful. I mean, a lot of people now probably use ChatGPT and OpenAI, and it doesn't matter how intelligent you are or how much of a professional you are. It's hard to compete with that power. So
yeah, it is what it is. You know, that this app will be a tool just like anything, and the world is moving in this direction, and so we might as well utilize it to the best of our abilities, right?
Yeah, I think it's important to add on top of that, you'll never beat human experience and human intuition. So this is the reason why this application is just a support for practitioners, and for clients it's never going to be a replacement. But the more data that practitioners can work with, the better the better people are going to be able to be served. And you know, it can pick up on tiny nuances that you might forget, you might not realize. I mean, you know, a little nuance is if you aged between 28 and 32 and you're going through a process called the Saturn return, some people can go into a 4-low pattern, and it's a process where people actually usually go through some parental healing. A practitioner might forget about that, it just might not come to their attention, whereas something like this will pick it up all the time, every time, and it will also stop human error, which, you know, is another factor. So
it could be a powerful learning tool for practitioners as well. Like the reports are very comprehensive, and so you can use these reports, you know, to learn.
So in this section, I'm going to talk about the hair analysis app. I did actually do it on Skype, but when Skype cropped up the recording, it cut off all of the screen share. So I'm going to do it manually and talk you through it. So I'm going to go try and get through it as quick as possible because there is a lot. The best thing to do really is try it out yourself. If you just go to hairanalysis.report, you can get a report as a practitioner or an individual. Obviously, we do say if you are an individual,
obviously we want you to be working with a practitioner, but if you've been doing it for a while, you'll be able to generate a lot of useful information. So yeah, go to the website and have a look through it. We just had a new rebrand. It's got encrypted data, side-by-side graphs. We'll show you that soon. It's got free reports at the moment. It's got hair analysis reports. It's got all the patterns on it. We've got a healing report, so the diet, the water, and then it'll analyze the patterns as well. And then a supplement report currently. So yeah, have a look at the website, hairanalysis.report. But yeah, I'm going to show you a bit of an overview of what it can do. So the first thing you'll come to is a section like this. You can use ARL, Trace, and other reports like doctor's data. So once you're on ARL, for example, a really good feature of this app is that you can upload your PDF. So if you've got the original PDF file, you just click open PDF, click on your graph, click open. It'll automatically extract all the data, and it will also figure out whether what your sex is and retest, etc. So down at the bottom, once you've put all of your information in, if you're a practitioner, you can assign this program to a previously saved client. So if we're talking about me, so if Lewis Rowlands was a client, you can assign this program to Lewis again. You can add this client as a new client if you want to use our client management system, so you can pop in their email and the client notes. And you can also import the symptoms from the general information sheet. So if you are a practitioner, if you go to the dashboard, you can actually see our general information sheets and our retest sheets. The general information sheet looks something like this, and it just gives you an overview. It asks for the client, name, address, main health concerns, etc., etc. But if your clients fill out the symptoms list and save it and submit it, when it comes to importing, you can actually import all that data, which is really, really useful. So for any practitioners wanting to use the system, if you go to the dashboard area, click on Take Me to My GIS form, or you can send your client an email with the form or the retest form, or, which is probably most useful, if you was to copy this code, and the code is unique to each person that's logged in, if you copy this code, give it to your web developer, tell them to put it on your website, you'll basically get this on your website, and it's obviously white labeled, so your customers can't see it. So once you've done that, this is just basically telling you that you can use doctor's data. You can also use trace elements and upload the PDF. Most trace elements are actually password protected, but this is a really cool system where you can just type in the password, click open PDF, and it will unlock the PDF and insert all of the data, which is really, really handy. Once you have inserted your data, you click load values into app, and then you will come onto a page like this. Again, if you do want to assign this program to a previously saved client, you can do so here. This section is actually where you can click to get all of the reports, so you can get the hair analysis report, program report, supplement report. If you do click the program report, there's a few other options that will appear like that, and you can type in how many enemas you want your client to do per day, for example, how long you want them to go in the sauna, and how long you want them to do the mental exercise every day. You can receive a hair analysis reminder if you want to. So a lot of these are already pre-ticked. The reason why they're pre-ticked is you can pre-tick things in the default report settings, which saves you going and ticking things that you tick every single time. They're already pre-selected. So that's what I've got set up in the default report setting. So you can send yourself a reminder as a practitioner or a client, so 3 months, 75 days, 4 months. You can actually send your client a reminder if you click this button. So you can add in their email. If you've saved the client to the system, their email will automatically pop up, and you've got a little subject and reminder text that you can edit from the default report settings area as well. You can show priorities and focus points on the hair test. You can render the graphs using Dr. Wilson's values, which I use. So he has slightly different values to ARL, which I think is a little bit more accurate. And then we can go down. The symptoms list will be imported from the other areas. Don't worry, I've added in some sample symptoms here. I don't have all of these problems, but just for the case of showing people how this app works, we can tick a lot of these and it'll give you an idea of what the app can pick up on. But it's really useful to send your clients the general information sheet to import all of this. If you're an individual, you can just go through and select which ones relate to you. All right, so once you've done all that, it just gives you another overview of the minerals again. This is a new section, so the program report is actually getting quite big. So any additional patterns that I've been adding, you can actually click on here and select them. So recent ones, recently are digestive markers, infection markers, liver stress markers, iodine markers. The stages of stress was already included, but this is a much larger section that I've added in. This is where you can add notes. If you want to add extra notes to the top or the bottom, I'll show you that soon. This section, remove read more buttons. So what you'll see is the report has a lot of read more buttons for further reading. Obviously, if you're a practitioner, you don't want clients going to our website, but not to worry, we can actually add the articles that we use and the read more buttons onto your website. And when you send PDFs to your clients, the buttons will actually go to your website and not ours. So once you've done all of that, you need to pay and generate a report. So we'll just click submit. And usually this takes around 5 to 10 seconds to actually generate the report. And yeah, once that's done, you'll get a nice report that we'll go through in a minute. Alright, so once that's done, a really cool thing about this app is you can see the graph side by side, so you can see the most recent test and the retest. So easy visual. This graph's rendered using Dr. Wilson's ideal mineral, so you'll generally find that these look much more normal. And usually, because he's quite tight on the toxic metals, a lot of them will go off the chart because he has much more tighter ideal values for the toxins. This is the notes section. You can add in additional notes for yourself or your client, and you can save it. And then it will go through a really detailed healing report. So we've got retest, positive patterns in orange. Any symptom information will come up in red. Priorities and focus points have a blue border around them. Then it goes through ratios, symptoms are there. Ratio section got an improved thyroid effect. Sodium magnesium section, which is adrenal ratio. Then we go on to the oxidation rate. Then we go on to some of the additional patterns that I talked about earlier. So stages of stress, digestion markers, infection indicators, liver stress, iodine. And we go into the first 4 minerals, a few more symptom information there. Then we go into the first 4 mineral patterns. So any pattern that's a positive one will come up in orange. 3 highs. Again, a few symptoms, got settling down pattern there. Copper, so this is an interesting section. More symptoms there. It will actually tell you when you need a little bit of copper in your supplements. and it will actually show you all hidden copper toxicity indicators, which you can see on this section. So if you go to what is on the report, this will basically give you an overview of everything that's on the report. It's actually not fully up to date because I have added quite a few more things, but it will give you a bit of an idea of everything that you can get on the report. If you go down to the copper section, here are all the copper toxicity indicators that can come up, and all of the adrenal burnout indicators. This is actually one of my tests. I didn't have any adrenal burnout indicators, and I did have one copper toxicity indicator, which is, pretty low. So in terms of that, I mean, I'm doing pretty well. So we go on to more patterns here. Low zinc, but zinc has been replaced for healing, which is a positive. Selenium's dropped, positive. Chromium's dropped for healing, positive. And then we go on to the toxic metals, and then poor eliminators. So again, if you go to this page, you can see all of the stuff that the app will actually go through. So moving on, just click here to view the program report, click here to view the supplement report. So the program report is basically solutions, what to do in order to heal. So the first few pages is basically the program, what to expect, diet. This is a really cool shopping list, which gives you basically a step-by-step overview of the program diet, and you can actually tick what you want on your shopping list and email yourself a little shopping list, which is cool. Soon we actually integrate an AI, so you'll be able to click on each of these, click a little button, and it'll generate your little recipe, which is going to be pretty good. But this is a step-by-step shopping list of how to eat on the program. So moving on, you got water, and all of these. Click here to read much more information about each section. So each report really probably about 100 pages long once you include all of the read more links. Lifestyle, mindset and psychology, other important aspects for healing, detoxification, coffee enemas. If you remember earlier on when we was typing in how many you want your client to do, that will actually come up here. I should say as well, we do create custom reports for practitioners. Obviously, it's very, very difficult to create a one-size-fits-all, but we can create custom reports if that's something you are interested in. And then a healing reactions page. So on the healing reactions, we do have quite an interesting application that's sort of in beta at the moment, called Troubleshooting. So if you go to /troubleshooting, this is another app. And basically what it does, it will basically figure out how well you're doing the program. Then it will figure out how likely it is you going through a healing reaction based on how well you're doing the program. And then once that's done, it will basically try and figure out what specific toxin is likely causing the healing reaction. So this is a cool app that's it works pretty well. Well, it works very well, but I am finishing it off by adding another section which gives you solutions on the healing reactions. And then down at the bottom, we've got assessing program changes. So this is something I think clients don't really understand too much. So it's a full section on what to expect when your program changes and when to get in touch with your practitioner. And then down at the bottom, it will actually analyze your hair analysis test and give specific advice based on all of your patterns and ratios. So there was an elevated calcium magnesium, overeating on sugars and starches, a high sodium magnesium ratio, information on oxidation rate and adding extra fats and oils onto food. So if you're going through with hidden copper toxicity, so how to deal with that. If you're dumping amigos, for example, you're dumping this, you're dumping that. It gives you specific advice on how to overcome things. So see it as like a solutions report, which is really cool. So moving on, we've got a supplement report. I'm actually redoing this completely. not redoing all the dosages, but redoing the app, making it much more easier. Like, so there's going to be a table of supplements up at the top here. It's all been rewritten. But in simple terms, the idea of this supplement program is to give people much more information about what each supplement. In blue, it tells you what to do when you're going for a healing reaction. Red is the max dosage. In orange, it will talk about directional supplements, or supplements that are used to sort of direct, to sort of either increase or decrease the oxidation rate, or increase or decrease the NAK ratio. So it's important to understand ones in orange because they tend to change as the programs progress. And then much more information about what to expect when you go through different changes. So a lot of information to go through. For practitioners, we do have a client dashboard, so you can see all of your clients, and each client you can go in and basically add information. You can add in client notes, which is really useful. You can set statuses for each client, and then you can see it all from an easy to read client dashboard. So you can see everything, when the last test was, whether they've paid for a retest, whether they need attention. You can see quick notes, and when you click on each client, obviously it takes you to a more detailed page with more information about each client. It also will bring up previous reports, so it's handy to see all of the previous reports from each client. And it will also save the health questionnaires if you've sent health questionnaires. So yeah, at the moment you can only import the symptoms, but we are working on it, adding more integration with the health questionnaires in the app. So an easy example is if they're typing in the diet, or if you're typing in as an individual that you're eating potatoes or cookies or fruit juice, and you've got like a high calcium magnesium ratio, the app will actually pick up on that. So that's everything. I'm not going to bombard you too much. One last thing, we do have practitioner training integrated, so check it out. Go to the website and click on practitioner training. This is a course run by Susan Cachet. She was my advanced practitioner. Can't recommend her enough for learning about hair analysis. You can actually use our app unlimited use when you're going through the course. So it's really, really useful to go through the course and actually use the hair analysis application to understand, how to read client tests and client data. So we do have a booking system, which I'll probably leave for today because we are focused more on the actual reports. But that's everything, and we'll get back to the Skype session.
So that's everything for the app. I feel like I've bombarded people, bombarded people with a lot of information. But at the end of the day, there's so much information with hair analysis that it's the only way to, what we're trying to do is get all that information into an easy to use, simple application. And as a practitioner, you can run a report in a couple of minutes, and you're going to get out a really, really free, powerful reports that you can edit, send to your clients, and you can also keep track of your clients as well. So, so that's that.
Yeah, you guys can see how powerful it already is, right? And it's exciting because we can take it, really as far as we want, right? Like I was talking about in the video I made about it, like, the future of this is an all-in-one sort of health app where you can use AI to create recipes from things all the way from, things like in your fridge, or, in the future you could have it has reminders for you to take your supplements like 3 times a day.
So that's the idea, is just to basically build on top of this, because we personally think that hair analysis is the best tool for figuring out people's health status. The amazing thing about hair analysis is the amount of data that you can pull from it, but no one's, in my opinion, has actually, really put all of that information into an easy to use application. And that's the idea. In 10, 20 years time, it'll be a pretty intelligent system. And one app that I really want to do soon is a routines app. So it'll generate you a routine, which is really useful. And I'm going to add in, especially on LifeLabs.ai, we're going to add in sort of phase 2 of health. So really healing is not just about, doing the program. There's all the other aspects to health, which is sort of emotional well-being, social time. So, I've actually built my own system over 5 years that I've been refining myself, that keeps me on track every day with a routine that I can wake up every day and I can open the application, and I've just got a routine that I can, it's dynamic. So if I'm going through fast oxidation, it will switch everything around. If I'm lacking a certain area of my life that I know that I need to work on, I can select that and it'll rearrange my routine and, make sure that I'm sort of ticking every box. So it's going to get powerful. It's going to be a big system. So I hope people get use from it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of health apps now. I've been seeing more like on YouTube ads and stuff, like people, like apps like optimize your testosterone, for example, for men. They're like trying to get more gains in the gym and stuff like that, right? But the major difference really is that we're going down that app route and that AI route and all that sort of stuff, but utilizing this science of hair mineral analysis, right? Because this science really isn't that well understood by many people. I would say me and Lewis are experts in it at this point, right? We're in the top 1% of people that actually understand the science, right? Because it is a somewhat new science, right? It's not a replacement therapy, right? It's not like you get the hair test, you're low in zinc, you give zinc. This is a more sophisticated sort of.
It's one of the reasons why we built the app in the first place, is because a lot of people don't actually, and a lot of practitioners don't actually know how to read hair analysis properly. They use it as a replacement therapy. When I first ever got my hair analysis 11 years ago, I actually tried to find someone local because I just thought that would be the best thing to do, and they used it as replacement therapy, and they just didn't know how to read it.
Right.
So we're actually providing a service whereby the reports get read properly. And
right.
Also, if you are a practitioner and you're new, you can feel comfortable in understanding that you are going to get an up-to-date report that's going to be accurate and actually going to, tell you the things that you need to learn about. So you can sort of learn on the go as a practitioner. Every time you put something through the app, you might learn something new. Which I kind of wish I had that when I first started as a practitioner. We didn't get that service,
Right. And it's also, and again, we're not trying to replace practitioners, but at the same time, we might as well provide as many tools as possible so it can be as do-it-yourself as possible.
Yeah.
If people want to go down that route.
Yeah. So, if you're an individual at the moment, you can actually register on hairanalysis.report and generate a report. And if you are a practitioner, get in touch, because we can build custom reports. So we built custom reports for other practitioners. So it's branded to you. You might not focus, you might want, anchor patterns, for example, removing. You might want a few things tweaking, you might want the text changing. So that's another feature of this application, is that we can create custom apps for other practitioners. So you can't really create a one-size-fits-all for practitioners. Right. Practitioners do work in slightly different ways, and some practitioners like to focus on other things. One of the reasons why I added digestion markers and liver stress markers is because another practitioner focuses on that a little bit more than what I've done. I've never really spoken about that. So that's another benefit really of this application, is that we can add, a lot of other things like digestion markers, iodine markers. I've never really talked about that with my clients, never really personally felt a need to, but there's other practitioners that really want to focus on that. And there's nothing right or wrong by it. We're all generally deficient in iodine, and if you want to talk about that, that's great. So that's another, cool feature.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and we look forward to, keeping you guys updated and to keep rolling out updates. And eventually this will be bigger than the app too. We would like to start our own lab. We think the supplements can also be improved. So it includes their own new reformulated supplements, with that are more, I would say dialed in with the ingredients and stuff like that, and have it all streamlined. It's an exciting time.
Yeah. So I think moving forwards, if people have any comments or questions, I think one of the main things we're wanting to do at the moment is improve the YouTube videos and stuff. So let us know what you would like. If you prefer the Q&As, if you want more detailed videos or explanations of things, then let us know. But one thing that's really good about this new application is that it will allow me and Luke and potentially other people that join our team to expand quite rapidly and quite big, because we want to get hair analysis out there as much as possible. If I was going to be critical about Dr. Wilson's website and the way that he tries to run things, is that he struggles to expand because every test has to run through him. And I personally believe that the app that I've built, I went through every single program design sheet that I got from my advanced practitioner over the years, which was hundreds and hundreds. Mm-hmm. And the application picked up on every single thing that them reports showed me, plus way more. So as far as I'm concerned, the reports that we get are actually better than what I would have got in the past. Right. So Dr. Wilson has this argument that everything has to go through him, but even the supplements, the supplements are all bang on as well. So I disagree in that respect, that you can expand hair analysis and mineral balancing on a much larger scale, and that's what we wanted to try and do.
Yeah, and I think Dr. X would have loved this app, because I think that's what he was trying to do originally too. And we can see it, like, he didn't have the tools that we do with AI and like more sophisticated computer code and websites and stuff like that. But you can see with those reports from ARL that you get, they're basically a much more simple version of what we're doing, because he knew that if you could put it into a computer code and have it spit out a program, you could get it to more people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And in many ways it makes sense, because it's just that much information. It's just, Dr. Wilson's website, 1,500 articles, and you've got all the information from David Watts, which is useful. You've got new studies coming out. You've got, people like Rick Malta, I want to look at everyone and, get the best of the best into a system. Try and find some common ground. Hair analysis, it's, sometimes I feel like it's ARL and trace elements, and there's definitely, there's definitely some information on each side that's definitely useful, and there's definitely common ground between the two. And I think it's important to try and find a bit of common ground, because one of the biggest issues we have in this space is politics. And it's not something I'm not interested in particularly. So okay. I'm wanting, the podcast that we're doing, I'm going to be having people on the podcast from different areas, different spaces, and just gathering information. I'm not saying that I'm going to agree with everything that people say, but it doesn't mean you should disagree with everything just because they, don't run tests through this particular lab, for example. We're finding new information out every day about various things.
Right. Yeah. And I'm learning new information too. You know, there's some people on Twitter that I follow, for example, that aren't really into hair mineral analysis, but they're mineral science is catching on more. I've noticed, you know, as people look for answers, sort of mineral science and biochemistry. There's some people that I follow that, you know, really into. It's more like replacement therapy because they're really into like magnesium, for example. You know, they call it like magnesium maxing, but it's a step in the right direction. People are becoming aware of this sort of science, right? Where the key to health is, you know, trying to balance the biochemistry using mostly minerals and vitamins.
And there's some dangerous information out there. I mean, there's people who just want to high dose copper, for example, without any tests. And one of the reasons why we want this application to be available to the public as well is for people who might have been in these groups on Facebook that I've been a part of, where people will just give people high dose copper, for them to actually say, do you know what, let me run it through this system, and the system will give them, you know, safe information on when to supplement copper and when not to supplement copper, because, you know, it's very precise science. You can't just be supplementing copper in high doses for anyone without a test. So one of the reasons why we're actually allowing the public to use this as well is to try and stop dangerous information. You know, even people that are into mineral replacement using hair analysis, we want to try and get people, you know, allow people to see good quality information. And we will be probably adding practitioners onto the system at some point, you know, so people can get help, as well as me and Luke. Because one of the reasons why me and Luke has been a little bit hesitant about really trying to get hair analysis and mineral balancing out to the masses on a large scale is because we just haven't had the foundation to, you know, serve everyone properly. So now we've got a system like this in place, it will definitely allow us to expand safer as well. You know, there's a safety aspect. So if you've got high quality information within an application, and you have other practitioners using that application, you know that each client underneath you is getting high quality information. And that's basically what Dr. Wilson was trying to do. But he didn't have the technology, you know, he was just doing it by himself. You know, there's only a certain amount of time people have in the day. So that's that.
Okay, guys. Well, that's about it for the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. Apologies for the information overload. You know, I was going through that thinking, man, people are gonna, if you've managed to get through to this end,
Congratulations.
Well done. But yeah, the reason why it was information overload is just there's that much data, but there's something beautiful about changing something complex into something simple. If you think about Steve Jobs and Apple with the iPhone, if he was to actually explain the iPhone, what's going on, he would be there for hours. So one of the ideas is for us to change something really complex, trying to figure out basically what to do through books and Dr. Wilson's website, into something super simple.
Right.
So that's that. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully speak to you soon.
Bye, guys.